I have to declare an interest in this, and again I want to welcome my colleagues from SIPTU and the childcare sector. I used to work with SIPTU, I used to work on the Childcare campaign, Minister, and two things always struck me in relation to that sector. The first is the amazing people I met, I'm sure you'd agree with me, dedicated professionals who go above and beyond the call of duty to provide a wonderful service every day. And the second thing that always struck me was just the very poor conditions in which they worked. You'll know already that thousands, tens of thousands of childcare workers will sign on next summer. Their jobs will finish and they have to sign on for 3 months. You'll know that the average rate of pay in the sector is just €10.27 an hour. You'll know that the turnover rate, and this is quite startling, is 28%. In other words, 1 in 3 childcare workers are voting with their feet and leaving the sector. Now, I'm sure you will agree, Minister, you cannot build a professional childcare sector with that level of attrition, with those poor wages. I know you've said some very positive things in relation to the role that unions can play, but I think we do need you to go further, Minister. And what I'm asking in particular, given that childcare workers are leaving, they're leaving to emigrate, or indeed they're leaving to work in supermarkets where they'll get a better rate of pay, I need to understand, and maybe you could outline for us, the steps that you're going to take in order to improve the rates of pay for workers. Because with the greatest respect, the 7% increase in capital funding is welcome, but that's not going to do it. And you know why, because there's such an underfunding situation which we're coming from. So what we need the government to do is to commit to a sectoral employment order for the sector. And the reality is there's a lot of goodwill for that to happen, and unions like SIPTU are organising to make it happen, but it won't happen without the adequate government funding. And I'd say this to you, Minister, if you could win that funding to make that happen, you would actually have transformed childcare into the sector it deserves to be, into the sector that I think all of us across the parties want it to be. And you'll certainly have the support of Sinn Féin if you're willing to do that. In our own budget submission, we did allocate a fund of £40 million. Don't forget, this is costed by the Department of Finance, to ensure that childcare workers each receive the minimum of a €1 increase in pay, which would bring them very close to a living wage. So we know it can be done. Like all budgets, it's about choices. But I would really welcome, in your response, and I have to apologise, by the way, Minister, I have to leave after this to go to the 8th Amendment Committee, but we would welcome if you could outline the steps that you're willing to take in terms of engagement with the unions and in terms of that funding question to ensure that the sectoral employment order does happen for the childcare sector. Thanks.